Okay, let's check this out. How to select notes, bars and passages properly. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, blimey, Paul, this isn't the most exciting one you've ever done. But trust me, there is something about the way that MuseScore selects notes that you have to be mindful of, especially when you start editing your score later. And I thought this is a perfect place to show you what I mean. But before we do that, I just want to show you how to add a keyboard shortcut to change the view zoom level, because we're going to need to do that. And rather than coming down here on the right hand side and mouse clicking all the time, the easiest way to do it is if you hold shift down and then press the Z or X keys at the same time, you can zoom in and out of your score like this. So shift down, Z, X out. So Z moves in, X zooms out. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom right in here. I'm going to scroll along and we're just going to look for the moment at these three bars at the top here. Now, what do I mean about notes behave a bit odd? Well, you could assume that when you select a note, and this crotchet here is a perfect example, that all you do is left click it, okay? And that is absolutely right, you do. But in MuseScore, the note is actually made up of three different things. It's made up of the note head, it's made up of the stem between these notes, and it's also made up of a dotted rhythm if you've added the dots, or if we had any articulations, it would add those to it too. Okay, so what you need to be mindful of is actually selecting the note head when you want to edit the position of it. Because if I accidentally select the stem, for example, now if I wanted to, if I thought I wanted to change the position of the note head, I can do that with the arrow keys on my keyboard. So I'm just going to press up and you'll see it's and down is editing the stem length and not the note pitch. Okay, left click the note head, arrow keys up or down can change their pitch. I know you're thinking that's not the most exciting thing, but trust me, when we've gone through this lesson, you start making your first really lovely score, especially if you've got chords and voices and all sorts of stuff going on. Speaking from experience, that's very easy to forget. Double check you've actually selected the note head, okay? And another thing to bear in mind, and you'll hear it here too, you can change this in preferences, but currently, as standard, if you left click a note head, a single note head, you'll hear the note played back when you edit its pitch. Just like that. But if we left click in that bar now, we can select all the notes in that bar. Now, if I move them up and down in pitch with the arrow keys, they don't play back. Okay, so if you're expecting it to play back with multiple selections, it won't. Right, it only does that on single notes. Okay, now across these three bars, let's say I wanted to select all of everything in that three bar range. I'm going to press the shift key down and left click the first note head, and then I'm going to come across and I'm going to left click that rest here, and it's going to select everything between those two ranges. And now, like last time, we can move everything up or down. Okay, so we can do that. If I exit at any time, pressing the escape key clears everything. A really handy tip there. If you have anything selected at all and things aren't working, just hit your escape key a couple of times and it cancels the selection. Let's say I wanted to select this note here, that note there, and just this note here. How would I do that? Well, I'm going to hold the command key down, left click this note, left click that note, and I'm going to left click the other note. And now with those three notes selected, I can change their position too. Okay, and conversely, if I wanted to unselect, perhaps I've made a tweak and now I don't want that in the selection anymore, I press the command key down again and I left click just that one note and it unselects it. Okay, I'm going to press escape to clear everything out. Now this is quite a cool one. This is quite nice. If you left click a note, hold your shift key down and use the right arrow, it selects everything on the right hand side of the original selection. Okay, conversely, if I left click here, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go back with the left key. I'm going to hold the shift button down there and it selects everything the left hand side. Now you'll notice when I press the right arrow key, the view changed. Sometimes it does that. Sometimes MuseScore just does something with its views, especially if you're zoomed in. It's just something to be mindful of as you're going through the selection process, all right? So you can select notes that way. Now I'm going to press the escape key and I'm going to unselect everything. And now I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Something to be mindful if you fancy dragging with the mouse. Now to select with your mouse, it's highly doable, but unlike other software, don't hold the left mouse button down and then drag the mouse about, because you'll be dragging the piece of paper, your score, all over the screen. To do a range selection with your mouse, hold the shift key down and then left click and drag, okay? And you can select everything in the range of that drag you've just done. Okay, so now if I wanted to, not a great idea. If you wanted to transpose this into a different key, there's other ways to do it. But let's say that's what you wanted to do. You could move everything across different staves up and down if you wanted to. I'm going to escape out of that as well. And now if I wanted to select the entire score, I'm just going to zoom out a bit so we can see what's going on. I'm going to just left click one note. I'm going to press the command key and I'm going to press A. Boom. And it's selected everything. Now, if we had 15 different instruments and 700 bars in this piece of music, it would select everything. Okay, so if you wanted to select absolutely everything in one sitting, Command A is the keyboard shortcut for it. All right, so there's loads of ways to select in MuseScore. Just be mindful though, as we discussed earlier, if you're editing notes, make sure you select the note head and not the stem or the beam, because if you're doing that, you can alter something you didn't want to. So just double check you've selected the note head itself. All right. I'm going to show you one last cool thing you can do in this section, and that's go to a specific bar if you know where that problem is. And to do this, I'm just going to zoom out again so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to change the view to page view. Let's just move it about a bit so we can see what's going on. Right, now I'm going to escape out. So if I wanted to go to, if I knew there was an issue at bar 12, for example, I could press my Command and F key and just put 12 in. And you'll see that it's selected that bar completely at the 12th bar. Now, if I wanted to, I could range select over everything. That works in horizontal view as well. So to do that again, if I shut down the find go to it's called. So it's Command F to open it, and you'll see it opens at the bottom. I'm going to clear that out. Now, if I could put page numbers in, I could put rehearsal numbers in if they were in, but seeing as we've only got bars at the moment, I'm going to go to bar 6 and it goes straight there. And then now that's selected, I'm just going to select with a shift key and push the arrow key down. It's selected everything. So that could be a really nice way, if you know where the issue is. If you're looking at things, oh, bar 3 looks a bit odd, or bar 67 looks odd, you can go straight there with the find go to function with Command or Control F. Let's move on and have a look at something else.